So, okay, let's start. So, hi and welcome to your programming Oracle Database NC3 Part 2. This topic discusses your week 11 to 14 handling exceptions. Okay, so we're already on our week 11 to 14. So, week 11 to 14, handling exceptions, objectives. Okay, after completing this lesson, you should be able to do the following. Define PLSQL exceptions, recognize unhandled exceptions, list and use different types of PL/SQL exception handlers, trap unanticipated errors, describe the effect of exception propagation in nested blocks, and customize PL/SQL exception messages. Let's have an example of an exception. So always remember how we start with declare, begin, and end. Okay, so the declare, you have to declare the variables. Begin is your, this is where all the functions happens. And of course, we have the end. So sample, declare. I want to declare a v_l name variable with data type variable character 2 with the maximum characters of 15. Okay, then begin. So let's start the function. So select. Okay, I want to select from last name column and save it into v_l name, a variable from, so of course, where are you going to get it? From employees table. Okay, this is the employees table. Then where is always the condition. So where it should be the first name is John. Okay, so, and then output, to create an output, tbms underscore output dot put line, then type here John. John's last name is double var, then get the value of v_l name, which is saved in here. Is this clear? So basically what we want to do is, I want, based on the condition, I want to get the last name, okay, from the first name John. So the John's last name is your v_l name variable. So let's try this one. Example, you have an error. Okay, you have the aura, this is the code, aura-01422. Exact fetch returns more than requested number. Example, you have a table here. Okay, the table name is employees, but you have John there. We have 5 John. Example, John, John Lennon. Okay, John. Okay, so we have different types of first name John. Of course, we have different last name. So now the problem is we want to get the last name of first name John, but you have 5 John. So that's why we encountered error. Okay, this means that returns more than request number of rows. Okay, instead of 1 row, possible there's already 5 rows available with John name. Okay, so the cost, the number specified in exact fetch is less than the rows returned. So example here, we want to get 1 name, but it returns 5, one last name, and it returned 5 last name. Okay, the action, rewrite the query or change the number of rows requested. Is this clear? Okay, possible in the database we have 5 John with the first name John. Okay. Now using exception. Okay, just add exception. Okay, after begin you have exception. Then when, type when. Then to_many_rows. These are already inside the Oracle database. Okay. So when to_many_rows, then I want to print out this one. Your select statement retrieve multiple rows. Okay. So to type again, to print out again, the BMS underscore output that put underscore line, then your text here. Okay. So the answer will be your selected retrieve multiple rows. Instead of having this error, the disadvantage of this one is it will make your program lag. Okay. Unlike this one, once you have an exception, it will move to the next program. Clear? Next, handling exceptions with PL/SQL. An exception is a PL/SQL error that is raised during program execution. Okay, what is an exception? It is any abnormal condition that interrupt the normal flow of your program's instruction. At runtime is called an exception. Clear? Anything that interrupts the normal flow of your program is an exception. Or in simple words, exception is a runtime error. Okay? An exception can be raised implicitly by Oracle server, explicitly by the program. So an exception can be handled by trapping it with a handler or by propagating it to the calling environment. Okay. So when you say implicitly inside this already inside the Oracle, this one is you have to define. Exception types. We have predefined Oracle server. We have the non-predefined Oracle server. These two are explicitly. Okay. Then we have the user defined. Okay. When we say predefined and non-predefined, okay, these exceptions are explicitly in the PL/SQL block. It's already inside. Okay. While the user defined, like all other programming languages, Oracle also allows you to decide and implement your own exceptions. Okay, you can declare here your own exception. Okay, this is explicitly raised. Okay, exceptions. We have three, of course. We have three: predefined Oracle, non-predefined Oracle error server, and then user-defined error. So description of predefined. One of approximately 20 errors that occur most often in PL/SQL code. Okay, so here you don't need to declare these exceptions. They are predefined by the Oracle server and are raised implicitly. For non-predefined, any other standard Oracle server, you need to declare this within the declarative section, inside the declarative section or in the begin. Okay, the Oracle server will raise the error implicitly and you can catch for the error in the exception handler. While the user-defined error, a condition that the developer determines is abnormal. So declare in the declarative section and raise explicitly. So later on, we'll see the examples. So trapping exceptions, here are the syntax. Exception, then first exception. Example, when. Okay, you always use when. When, then the exception 1, or the exception 2, and then. Then next is the statement 1 or statement 2. Of course, if you have exception 1, you have statement 1. Then next, we have again the when. If you want to create another exception 3 or exception 4, then again, create the statement 1 and statement 2. And when others, then. Always remember this one. When others, then, you create another statement 1 and statement 2. Okay, guidelines for trapping exceptions. The exception keyword starts the exception handling section. Okay, several exception handlers are allowed. This one, this is the exception. Then it is the handling of exceptions. Okay. Then only one handler is processed before leaving the block. When others is the last clause. This is the when others. Okay. So we'll explain that based on this example. So let's have an example. Here I want to declare a two variables. We have v underscore last name, employees that last underscore name percent type. You already know this. I have already explained this before, but of course I will still explain. Okay, you will use this one instead of using variable character 2, example, variable character 2 with maximum of 20 characters. Instead of using that, I'll use this one. This is v underscore last name employees. Employees is your table. Dot last underscore name is your column. then you use percent type, it means that you will use any, what is the type being used or stored or saved in this last underscore name. Okay. So again, v underscore salary, employees dot salary, same, employees table, salary column, and whatever type it is. I will use whatever type it is. So let's start with the begin. I want to select, okay, select from last underscore name, what is this one? What last underscore name column and salary column. And I want it to save into means save. I want to save it into v underscore last name variable and v underscore salary variable from employees ID table, from employees table, then the condition where. It means what is your condition? It should be employee ID is equals to 30. Okay, then I want to output the v underscore last name, or I want to output the last name earns the salary. How much is the salary? Okay, is this clear? So basically, you just want to get the employee ID 30, the salary, the last name of employee ID 30, and the last name of employee ID 30 and the salary. Okay, based on the condition. Now, let's go to exceptions. These are predefined exceptions. Okay, so when no underscore data underscore found is this is already inside the Oracle. Then I want to output no records. Then when two underscore many underscore rows, I want to output more than one record is found. Okay, basically here, example, you want to get the employee ID 30. But the problem, based on your table, we only have employee ID 10, 20, 40, 50, and 60. So this will be your error because we don't have employee ID 30. In this one, two underscore many rows based on the previous sample, okay? Example, you have employee ID with 30. Example, 5 employees with employee ID 30. So of course, it will return 5 values. That's why more than one record is found. That's the error. Now, what is when others? When others is being used if we do not know what is the error. This, we already know what type of error. But this one, if you don't know the error, use when others, then then print out using dbms underscore output dot put line some error found. If we do not know the error, possible error, we will use when others. Is this clear? Is this clear, class? Okay. Okay, next. Okay, good. So trapping predefined Oracle server errors. So reference the predefined name in the exception handling routine. Sample predefined exceptions, we have no underscore data underscore found. Diba? We have used that. Then we have two underscore many underscore rows. This one, if no data found, if so many returns more rows. Okay. Invalid underscore cursor, 0 underscore divide, and dupe underscore val underscore on underscore index. These are examples of predefined exceptions. Already, it is already inside the Oracle. So we have so many. If you want, you already have this in your if you download the lecture on LMS, it's already there. Okay, so let's have an example. This one, dupe val. Let's try this one. Dupe underscore val underscore on underscore index. So as you can see, all the exception name have their own Oracle server error number. The Oracle server number of this one is Ora-00001, and the meaning or the description is attempted to insert a duplicate value. So if you tried to insert a duplicate value, this will be the error. Okay, then let's try this one. No underscore data underscore found. The corresponding Oracle server number is Ora Aura-01403. So single row select returned no data. Okay, based on the previous sample. Example, we want to get the employee ID 30, but there is no employee ID. This will be the error, no data found. Okay, another example. So let's go here. Example 0_divide. Oracle server number is 0 Aura-01476. So we attempted to divide by 0. So that's an error again. Then this one, 2_many_rows. We have the Aura-01422. Single row select returned more than one row. Clear? So you can, these are the all the errors that you can encounter. Okay, trapping non-predefined Oracle. We're done with the this one. Let's go again to this is the predefined. Then let's go to non-predefined. So in non-predefined Oracle server errors, these are the process. First, inside the declarative section, you have to declare and associate. Okay, declare means I want to declare a name for the exception. Then use the pragma exception dot underscore init. Then let's go to the reference in the exception section. Handle the raise exception. So let's go to an example. So to trap Oracle server number 01400, which is cannot insert null. Okay, let's have an example. Okay, I want to declare E_insert_except, then space exception. Okay, based here, name the exception. Okay, so the exception is this one, and we name it here. It's up to you, class. Don't some are always asking, is this fixed? No, it depends on what word you are going to use. Here, it's easy to know because why? E stands for exception, then underscore what error. I want example insert exception. Okay, insert underscore except. That's why it's like this, E_insert_except. If you want to do insert except, then exception, it's fine. Okay. Next is pragma space exception underscore init. Then open and close parentheses, put inside the name that you declared for exception. E_insert_except. Then of course the value. -01400. Now let's begin. So what you want to try to do here is you want to insert a data, okay, into departments table under department ID column and department ID name. Okay, department ID column and department underscore name column. And I want to put the values 280 and null. Okay, 280 is for department ID column. Null is for department underscore name column. Clear? Now, let's go to exception. So when, this is the exception, okay? When exception, then, but you named your exception. So when E_insert_except, then I want to print out dbms_output.put_line insert operation failed. And I want another printout, dbms_output.put_line SQL ERRM. Okay, later on we'll know what is this. So the output is insert operation failed, Aura-01400 cannot insert null into Aura1 departments, this one. You cannot insert DAO on departments table in, okay, department underscore name column. Why? Because of this null. Okay, it means that this one is not accepting null. Okay, so that's the error. Is this clear? Okay, let's explain the SQL ERRM. Okay, here is the SQL code. It returns the numeric value for the error code. Then the SQL ERRM returns the message associated with the error number. See, this is the error number, aura dash 014400, and this is the the error message. Okay, cannot insert null into. Then of course we have the SQL code values. Example, SQL code value 0. So the description is no exception encountered. Then if you have 1, user-defined exception. If plus 100, no underscore data underscore found exception. And if it's negative number, another Oracle server error number. Clear? Okay. Yeah, this one, this is how you use it. Error code, SQL code, error message, SQL ERRM. Okay. Okay, trapping user defined. Now we're done with predefined, non-predefined, then okay, yeah, non-predefined, predefined, and now we're going to use the user-defined exceptions. Okay, as you can notice here, we use now 3. We are going to use declarative section, executable section, and the exception handling section. Of course, we have to name the exception, then explicitly raise the exception by using the raise statement, and then handle the raised exception. Example, okay, we create a v underscore department number with number 500, with the value 500. And I want to create again this one, a variable v underscore name with variable character of 20, maximum of 20 characters, and testing. Now, I also want to create a e underscore invalid underscore department exception. Now let's begin. We want to update something on department table and set the department underscore name column is equals to the underscore name. This is this one. So you want the department underscore name to be testing, where the department ID should be v underscore department number, where v underscore department number is equals to 500. So basically this is the department ID is 500. Now, if SQL percent not found, then we have to raise. Okay, when you say raise, it stops the normal execution of the PL SQL block or subprogram and transfer the control to an exception handler. That's the raise, okay? So it raise, you want to stop everything here, then transfer it to the exception. And your exception is E underscore invalid underscore department. Then end if and then commit. Okay. So okay, commit, it changes for the current transaction, okay? Now, next exception. When E, you always know this, diba? When you're going to use the exception, you use when, then the exception. When E underscore invalid department, then I want to output no such department ID. Okay. Clear? Example, here, I want to set, okay, the department name, but it should be, the department ID should be 500. But example, on your table example, you only have 100, 200, 300, 400 department ID. You don't have department ID 500. Okay, that is your error. So no such department ID. Or you can change this, department ID does not exist. It's up to you. Okay, so this is the error. And this is how you do the user defined. You define it here. You create a variable. Okay, then you raise it here. And then you send it to the exception. Okay, create a variable of exception, name the exception, then raise the exception that you created, then do the exception. Okay, this is the case. Then this is the statement. What will happen? Okay. Clear? Okay, so basically here we have subblocks. Okay, so under begin, you can also do begin inside. Begin, select update. Okay, then raise, then end if. So basically, we're just showing you that you can also do subblocks. Okay, raise underscore application underscore error procedure. This is the syntax. Raise underscore application underscore error. Then open and close parentheses. Inside, you should have the error underscore number, comma, the message, comma, true or false. Okay, user-defined error messages from stored subprograms. You can report errors to your application and avoid returning unhandled exceptions. Okay, it is used in different places. Okay, you can use it on executable section, which is the begin, and or in the exception section. Returns error condition to the user in a manner consistent with the Oracle server errors. This is the two. This sample, di ba? Different places. Okay, you can use here. In begin, okay, you just add if SQL not found, then raise application error. This is not a valid manager. Example, this is not a valid manager. That will be the error. You want to delete something on employees table where the manager ID should be V underscore manager. But the problem is there is no manager with under V underscore manager. So this is the error. Or you can do an exception. Instead of putting it inside the begin, just create an exception. When no underscore data underscore found, then raise application that error. This is the error number. Then manager is not a valid employee. Okay, based on our example here. Raise application, error number, and then what's the message? Okay, so in this lesson, you should have learned how to define PL/SQL exceptions, add an exception section to the PL/SQL block to deal with the exceptions at runtime, handle different types of exceptions. Again, we have the predefined exception and the non-predefined exceptions. Okay, so these are exceptions explicitly in the block, SQL block, or it's already inside the SQL. Okay. Then you have the user-defined exceptions. Okay. Again, like all other programming language, Oracle also allows you to decide and implement your own exceptions. Okay. What's the step? Again, di ba? Number one, name the exception. Number two, raise the exception inside the executable or in the begin. Then create your exception. Clear? Then propagate exceptions in nested blocks and call applications. Okay, that's it. Any question? Any question, class? Is it clear? Yes, actually exceptions the errors. Yes, very good. Okay, then yung handling of exceptions, do natin ginagamit. We use exceptions to handle the error. Now, let's go back on the first. Yan. If you will not use exception, this will be the error. You will encounter this error, okay? Example, there's an error here. This is what you will encounter. The problem here is it will cause lag on your system, okay? Possible it will stop pa nga. Now, because of the exceptions, we use this one. This is now the error. You select statement retrieve multiple rows. And the advantage of this one is it will continue the process, okay? It will not encounter any lag. So exception is very important for handling errors. Clear? Any question? Yes, very good. Siya yung nag-aayos ng errors. Okay? Di-determine yung error para baka mag-move tayo sa next. Okay? Example, you have a long code. Then, on the first line, meron kang error. Siya na bahala mag-handle doon. Then, mag-move pa rin tayo sa next. The problem with no exceptions is possible doon pala mag-stop ka na. Nagbagahang na yon. Okay? Maglalag na yon. Okay? MySQL actually we'll focus on the Oracle database. Okay, that's kasi possible baka may mga ibang tayo sa MySQL. Okay, so let's focus on Oracle. Later on kasi basta ma-install niyo lang yung database, then I'll try to i-try din natin yung command line ni Oracle instead of using the pero mas maganda kasing gamitin yung Oracle SQL Developer. Okay? Okay, so with that, thank you for attending my class and see you again next meeting.